Aloha and welcome to Knitted Paradise, where the needles are clicking and the yarn is squishy. My name is Lucia, and you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Pearl of the Pacific. Today is April 24th, and this is episode 117. So hello everyone, and welcome to my knitting podcast. It's going to be a rather short one this week, but I thought I would record anyway, since next week is really busy, and I think I'll be able to record a podcast, but I'm not entirely sure, so we'll see what happens. All right, let's jump right in. Below the conch shell, we have the April and May green and yellow knit along going, so please post chatter, progress photos, finished object photos. They all go on the same thread. We also have the Night at the Theater Shawl knit along going on, and I think that one's going to go till like the end of June maybe. It's going to be a long one, just because I know people might still be getting the pattern or the yarn and things like that, and it is a large shawl because it's 150 gram skein, so like 650 to 700 yards, and yeah, so I thought I'd give people quite a lot of time for that. Yeah, that's it. Oh, there's a coupon code, KP Theater, and that will give you 25% off. And also, if you're posting on Instagram, you can use the hashtag Night at the Theater Shawl, and that will make it easy for me to find things. So, yay! Yeah, all that information is also in the Ravelry group, which is Knitted Paradise Podcast, and there's a thread called Night at the Theater Knit Along, and all of the information is in there. That's where you can post photos and chatter and stuff as well. All right, on the island, I have absolutely nothing. So it's going to be short, I promise. So that was really short. All right, set sail. I finished 2 things because I knit on 2 things this week, and I finished 2 things. And one of them is the lovely shawl that I'm wearing, which is Shard by Romi Hill. And the yarn is another Crafty Girl, shiny sock in the Great Wave colorway. And I absolutely love it. Here, I'll take it off for me to show you. I'll show you that to you in a minute. So it's knit, cast on, here's the cast on edge. Sorry, so you cast on, I forget how many stitches, and then you never change how many stitches you're working on, and you do a series of short rows, which gives you this shape. It's a very interesting shape. I've never done anything this shape before, but when you get to a certain color in your yarn, you do short rows, which create these little shards here. And sometimes they all group up. Whereas this one, I had this like one giant one in the middle. And sometimes they're nicely spread out, like over here. And sometimes there's, large chunks, like right here, where there is none. And I just kind of let it happen. You can decide how you want to do it. And I was really happy with this. It was really fun to knit. Once I got the first wedge, which I had a ton of problems with, which is completely user error. I just wasn't reading the pattern correctly. Once I got that figured out, then it was really quick. And I didn't have to look at the pattern really ever again. I just went with it. And the wedges, you can kind of do what you want with them, which is kind of fun. And she does give instructions on, how to do the short rows for the wedge, but depending on where I was and where in the color repeat I was, I could kind of decide how I wanted to knit them. So they vary in size and shape depending on how I felt like knitting them at the time, or how it worked with the wrap and turns that I had to do for the short rows. And I did the German short row, so there was no wrapping. You just knit to a certain point, and then you slip that stitch and pull the yarn over, and then go the other direction. If you look up German short rows, it's a lot better of a description than me trying to explain them. But I'm really happy with how it turned out, and the way I decided to wear it was I take this corner, or this edge here that you cast on, and put it over my shoulder like that. And then I take the longer edge with the points. You're actually just supposed to do bobbles on the end. I forgot mine on the first one because I missed that in the instructions, and so I just didn't do them. And I'm fine with that. They still turned out pointy. And so I take that edge and I put it around here. And then it kind of gives this nice drapey effect. And you can kind of pull it over one shoulder or whatever. And I had a shawl pin in it. I forget where I got this. But it's this gorgeous leaf with, that just goes, I think I got it at Vogue Knitting Live one year. It just hooks over like that. And it's slightly curved. And I just kind of stick it in one of the shards. And then out the bottom of the shard. And then I'll stick the end, so you can see it sticking out there, kind of. I stick the end back, like I have it up for a little bit, and then I stick it back in so it ends up behind the shawl. Kind of see that there, so it kind of gets hidden. But then that leaf kind of lies over one of the shards, and it's almost the same shape. That shard is a little thin, but it just makes sure that it holds it in place. But I was wearing it around this morning in my PJs, because that's how I roll. And it wasn't falling off. I didn't have the shawl pin in it. I had just blocked it the other day, and then this morning I had dropped a stitch somewhere, and I had noticed it like 6 or 7 rows later, and I didn't feel like dropping down and picking it up. So I just put a locking stitch marker in it until I was done knitting it, and then I actually blocked this before I wove in the ends because I knew it would stretch a lot because it's 50% merino and 50% silk. And so I knew it was going to stretch and drape a lot. So I didn't want the ends to create any bunching. So once I blocked it, then I wove in the 2 ends from either side. And then I took another strip of yarn, pulled it through that dropped stitch, and then just wove it in on either side. And I don't even remember where it is. It's somewhere. But I did that this morning, and then I was like, oh, I want to wear it around. So I just put it over my PJs and was wearing it around the house. I texted Sarah, who's another crafty girl. I was like, I love my shawl so much, I'm wearing it around the house in my PJs, and I feel so fancy. I was having a great time, because it's really soft and really drapey. I never knit with this base of hers, and I love it. I will definitely be getting some more. It's perfect for shawls because it's really drapey, and I think it calls for a size 3. I may have knitted on a size 4 because my size 3s were busy, and the cat has decided to join me, and so it made it even more drapey. And the pattern calls for 11 repeats. I think I did 13, maybe 14. I can't exactly remember. Are you saying hi, Pam? Trying to raise my knee up so you can kind of see them. No, you can't go up there. And I still had like 10 maybe grams of yarn left. I haven't weighed it yet. No, you can't be up there. And so I still had some yarn left, but not enough to do another wedge. I mean, I maybe could have done a smaller one, but that's okay. So that is my shard that I finished this week. And the other thing I finished was my Suburban Prairie socks, which you saw the toe of one of them a few weeks ago. And I had taken them to do, and I couldn't find my needles for the other toe. They ended up being squashed in my work bag somewhere. So I found that and knit them up this week because it was super quick. I love this pattern. So these are the Suburban Prairie socks, and the pattern is by Susie White, and the yarn is One Twisted Tree Prime in the Sun on Your Face color. And let me take one of these off so you can actually see the top of the sock. And that's what it looks like. And I did them toe up, and I followed the instructions on Prairie Girl Danny's project page because she had done them toe up. They are written cuff down. And so I just did my normal toe, and or what has become my new normal toe, which is kind of a one-sided. So they are one-footed. That's where the big toe will go, and then that's more slanted than that side. So I do more increases on that side. And I really like how that's been fitting. I like the socks that I've knit with that so far. But I just did the chart upside down, so I think it's supposed to be like this. but I did it like this. And I really like it. I think they look like little flowers to me. Like these look like little leaves. There's cables here, and then there's this really cool lace section here. And they look like little flowers. Like if you just look at that individually, it looks like a flower. I don't know if that was what was originally intended. Susie, you'll have to tell me. But I think they look like little flowers, and I love them. And once I think I knit like 2 of them, and I had memorized the little chart. I had printed it out, and I did have it in the bag with me. But after I think I knit like 1 or 2 of them, I had figured it out. And then on the back of the leg, I did do the twisted stitches, which I started because it does call for a heel flap, but I knit it toe up. So I did my deep pocket heel with the bottom of the foot gusset, and then I did the short row heel, and then when I was doing the gusset decreases is when I started the twisted ribbing. And there's also twisted stitches in this. I forgot how I love twisted stitches. So I did the 1x1 twisted rib on the top, and I'm really happy with them. They're really bright and sunny, which makes me so happy. So I'm really excited to wear those this week. And yeah, that's what I knit on this week, was those 2 things. And I finished them. Yeah, because they were both super quick to knit up. I have to snip the ends. So what I do with my socks is, I think I've talked about this before, but in the toes, when I'm knitting that first row, or one of the first rounds, I knit with the tail and the working yarn, so that essentially weaves in that end before I even get to round 2. And then right after I cast them off, I sit there and weave in the top end. And that saves me from having to do it later. And then I wash and block them, and then I snip the ends. Sometimes I forget to do that. But when I take them off the blockers, this is when I normally snip the ends. For mine, I don't pay as much attention, but I'm knitting them for other people. I make sure that I snip the ends as I'm, wrapping them up or whatever. So those are the things I knit on this week. Wasn't a ton, because these were things that were easy to take with me. Yeah, the fire cleanup is going well in the house. We still got to clean the walls, but the kitchen is mostly back to normal. I think we've cleaned all of the heavily sooted things. But yeah, so I did a little bit of knitting this weekend. This morning I did a swatch for a sweater, and I wound up some other yarn for a shawl that I kind of started, but I'm not entirely sure if it's going to stay with those colors or not. So I decided not to show it yet until I know what's going on with it. But those are the things I was playing around with today. Next, from the mainland, I got some things that I had ordered quite a while ago and almost forgotten about. So my mom had requested a Night at the Theater shawl, but she lives in Hawaii, and so she wanted something that wasn't wool because it can get warm there. It's actually where my parents live. It's not hot. It's not freezing cold. They think 65 is, oh my God, we're all going to die. It's so cold. But it's, it can get fairly warm. And so she didn't want a wool shawl because they don't really need that. It doesn't get that cold there. So I had knit with this 3 Irish Girls bamboo cotton fingering, which is 50% organic cotton and 50% bamboo. I had knit my Magrathea shawl by Martina Baim out of it. And so I went to their website and I looked up their colors, and I sent a link to my mom and I said, pick colors or pick, a colorway. And then they do I guess it's a dye to order. So she picked this, which is North Central Coast. And they have a couple different cotton bases or cotton bamboo bases, and they take the dye differently. And so they have a whole different dye technique, which means they have a whole different set of dyes or colorways basically for those. And so she picked out this one, and I got 2 skeins because I'm going to need 2 skeins for the shawl. And I really like this. On the screen, I didn't like it as much, but when it came in person, it's beautiful. And these are going to be perfect colors for my mother. So I'm going to wind this up right after I finish recording this. I still have my ball winder and Swift set up on the coffee table over there. I'm going to wind these up and so I can participate in my own knit along and hopefully get that to my mom sometime in the near future. The other thing I got while I was there was I picked up a skein of their Adorn sock in the Marmalade colorway, which is this gorgeous red. And this was for my friend who did the photography for the Night at the Theater shawl, and I pay her knitwear. And so she said she would like a pair of socks this time. Last time she requested a hat. This time she wanted a pair of socks in red, like a real red. So this is coming out a lot more orangey on screen, but it is a very bluish, deep red. And so those are going to be socks for her. And that is it for the week of knitting things. Oh, I want one more thing. I guess this will go in from my holiday, probably. I was tagged by the girls of a Wool Gathering podcast, Natasha and Meredith. So, hello, you two. They had tagged me in their last episode thread. I just was checking Ravelry to find out some information about the stuff that I was going to show you. And I saw I had a message, and so I went and checked it. And their question was, what is your favorite spring cleaning ritual? And I was thinking about it, and I don't know if I have any spring cleaning rituals. My husband and I were joking that our ritual is now the calcifer cleanse, which is funny because we were watching Howl's Moving Castle like a couple weeks ago, and in it, one of the things Calcifer says is he's a fire demon, and one of the things he jokes is that, here's another curse for you. May all your bacon burn. Which is funny because that's how our fire started, was bacon. So we're joking that we do the Calcifer cleanse where we burn bacon and then have to clean every inch of our apartment. It's not a ritual. I hope it's not a ritual. I don't plan on making it one, but it just kind of happened this spring that we now have to clean everything in our apartment, pretty much. We're still, like, we've got the majority of it, but there's still random places and weird places in the apartment where we take a book down off a shelf and it's like, oh, whoops, that's covered in soot. Let's wipe that down. So we just have paper towels and cleaning supplies just all over the place in easy grabbing distance. But in terms of rituals, I don't know if I have one other than just around that time of year, I feel the need to clean everything. I think I feel this need a lot. So it's kind of a every 3 months kind of ritual. And definitely I'll pick different areas of the house and just take everything out of that area, clean it, organize it, put it back, get rid of the things that we may not need or want, and just kind of rearrange things. I tend to rearrange things a lot. I'm all about efficiency, and so I will constantly take things out of cabinets and rearrange them in a more efficient way. You know, putting the things that you use most in the easiest to reach places, or arranging things in a way that uses the space the best. Because we don't have a large kitchen. It's a fairly small kitchen, actually. So it's all about using space wisely. I mean, our apartment's not big either, so the kitchen is appropriately sized for the apartment. And so it's all about using space efficiently, I think, for me. I don't know if this is a good spring cleaning ritual, but it just, cleaning and organizing just happen all the time for me. I like doing it. Maybe not so much the cleaning, but the organizing. A while ago, I talked about how I read the KonMari book. I forget what it's called. The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. That's what it's called, by Marie Kondo. I loved that book. And at that point, I went through, that kind of sparked me into let's go through everything. And so I went through my closet. I went through a lot of my books. I went through some of my knitting stash and destashed and donated some things. And I also went through the kitchen. So that was the other nice thing, is that I had recently gone through the kitchen and cleaned everything out and organized things. And so it wasn't it just was a pain in the butt to take everything out of every cabinet, wipe it down, scrub the cabinet. like all surfaces of the cabinet, not just the like shelf, but like the walls and the ceiling and everything, and then put it all back in. But luckily I had recently gone through it, so it was fairly organized, which was nice. Yeah, sorry, it's not the greatest answer, but I guess that's my ritual of sorts. And with that, I think I'm going to say goodnight. It's a lot later than I thought it was. It's 8:45 here. I think I might get ready to go to bed. It's going to be a long week. We have a big work convention coming up this next weekend, where I don't have to be at the convention this year, but I have to be available. So I have to be near my computer, or have my computer basically next to me at all times, and have internet, and be watching for when we need to post things or change things or whatever on the website. So it's going to be a weekend of waiting, and then everything kind of happens all at once, and then you wait for a while. And the nice thing is I don't have to be there this year, so I can be home and knitting or cleaning or whatever, but I still have to be available. So that's the one tricky thing about the podcast recording, is that I might be able to record a podcast, but if something comes up, I'm going to have to pause it and take care of it and then come back. So we'll see how it goes. Not having to be there freed me up a lot. So we'll see how it goes. So, and I hope you all have a great week, and happy knitting until next time. Bye!